Hello and welcome to the third grade Force in Motion Unit Lesson 1 video. This is the initial engagement activity, which is the first activity of all of our units where we have students just kind of be creative and play with either some materials or a video or something like that. And we want them to connect to their background knowledge and we want them to raise questions. Before you teach the lesson, though, there are a couple helpful resources on your website. So if you go over here to unit plans, this one's third grade, Force in Motion. I highly suggest looking at the storyline and teacher background, first of all, so you can get a little bit of idea of this is the bundle of standards for your unit. This is your big idea. A force is a push or pull that changes motion. And then we also have a storyline here. I'm not going to read the whole thing for you, but you can kind of look it over. And this is kind of the attempt of a coherent story you're trying to piece together for the students throughout the unit. Also, this is always beneficial to teachers, is to just do a quick little refresher of the content you'll be teaching. So down here, we just have some background knowledge for you about some of the big things that you'll be teaching in this lesson with balanced force and unbalanced force and magnetism and things like that. So, and then also at the very end, if you want to look at the progression of what this is going to look like, of what should have been taught before you in K2 and all the way up through high school, you can get a little bit of idea of what the progression's like and see where you fit in there. Also, another thing to check out is the flow chart, so you can kind of see what this whole unit is going to look like from afar. So as you can see, here are the standards again. We kind of bundled them together in the initial engagement activity, and then in the next lessons you'll have a negotiation and you will create this big idea eventually. Alright, so for this unit, if we go back to the lesson here, you're going to have 3 stations set up. You're going to have a station of a magnet kit, and I'll just click here on this Amazon link so you can take a look at it. With this one, I would basically just set it up and let the kids play. You might want to do a little talk to them about appropriate way to handle things, but I wouldn't give them specific tasks, because this is all about students kind of figuring it out on their own and just kind of playing and just kind of being engaged in the wonder of what's going on with these magnets. You might want to do, again, just kind of like for management purposes, you might want to go over about what's the appropriate way to share materials and things like that. But I would tell them what to play with. Just say, like here's an example. These would be non-magnetic items that are in the kit. So that would raise a question of, well, why didn't these things move and things like that. That's station 1. Station 2 is the small toy cars, and again, this is the foam dart. So this one you definitely want to have a conversation with them. Want to talk about shoot it like a gun, don't shoot it at your classmate or anything like that. But the purpose of this group is just to kind of get kids thinking about force and motion. Hopefully some students will recognize that if they squeeze the little launcher harder, the little rocket will fly farther. So that might get into a question of, what's the relationship between force and motion or something like that. And then the last one, I don't have it on it, but it's just some toy cars. And again, you're just going to say, go play with them. You're going to have them push into each other, things like that. But, obviously don't talk about, don't have them or talk to them about throwing the cars or hitting each other, and just about appropriate play with the cars. But in all 3 stations, you're going to give them a little bit of time to play. So depending on how much time you have for science, I would suggest something like 5 minutes to explore. You're probably going to want to do like a quick little overview here. Here's station 1, here's station 2, here's station 3, here's some general rules. But just have like 5 minutes to explore. And then if you look at your thinking log, oops, let me get the thinking log up here. Let me go back here and find it. The thinking log, all of the materials are all on the website, so there's the thinking log. If you go down here, what I would suggest is have them have 5 minutes without writing anything, just uninterrupted play. And then have them go to their thinking logs, draw pictures of what they observed, write out what they observed, write out what they wondered. Give them like 2 or 3 minutes to do that. Bring them in, rotate, do the same thing with station 2, do the same thing with station 3. I've just noticed that when you just say, okay, go and make sure to write something down, a lot of times kids forget to do that. So I would recommend stopping everything, making everybody go to your journal or thinking log and write, and then go back kind of into the chaos. So again, the purpose of this is just kind of get ideas flowing.